The United States is witnessing a fresh wave of unrest, and this time, the flashpoint is Minneapolis, Minnesota. Anti-ICE protests have erupted across the city, growing larger and more aggressive by the day. What began as demonstrations against immigration enforcement has now turned into a major law and order crisis, prompting sharp warnings from Republican lawmakers. A GOP lawmaker has issued a blunt message to the nation, saying the situation in Minneapolis is out of control. What is happening in Minneapolis? Thousands of protesters have taken to the streets, openly opposing ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the federal agency responsible for enforcing U.S. immigration laws. Protesters accuse ICE of using excessive force, targeting immigrant communities, and operating without accountability. Anger intensified after deadly encounters involving federal officers, which sparked outrage across Minnesota and beyond. Despite freezing temperatures, demonstrators flooded city streets, highways, and public spaces, chanting slogans, blocking traffic, and confronting law enforcement. Airport shutdowns and mass arrests. One of the most dramatic moments came at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, where protesters disrupted operations. Dozens of demonstrators, including religious leaders, were arrested after refusing to clear restricted areas. Flights were delayed, security was tightened, and the protest sent a clear message: this movement is not slowing down. Businesses closed, work stopped. Across Minnesota, hundreds of businesses shut their doors in solidarity with the protests. Workers called in sick, students skipped classes, and entire neighborhoods felt the impact. Supporters say this is economic resistance. Critics call it chaos. Either way, the disruption is real and growing. Police, National Guard on alert. Local law enforcement agencies have been pushed to their limits. With tensions rising, state authorities place the NATMs, Ional Guard on standby, ready to intervene if protests escalate further. Officials say they are trying to balance public safety with the right to protest, but behind the scenes, concerns are mounting that control could be lost. Republican warning: this is anarchy. Republican leaders have come out forcefully against the protests. One GOP lawmaker warned that Minneapolis is sliding toward anarchy, blaming local leaders for being too soft and accusing activists of hijacking the city. According to Republicans, the protests are no longer peaceful. They say laws are being broken, infrastructure is under threat, and federal authority is being openly challenged. Their message is clear: order must be restored, fast. Democrats push back. Democratic leaders and activists strongly reject that claim. They argue these protests are the result of years of frustration, claiming ICE has acted with impunity and fueled fear within immigrant communities. Some Democrats are calling for major reforms to ICE, while others are demanding investigations into federal actions and use of force. A growing faction is even calling to limit or dismantle ICE altogether. A nation divided. Again, this crisis has exposed deep divisions in America. On one side, protesters demanding justice, reform, and accountability. On the other, lawmakers warning that public safety and national security are at risk. Social media is flooded with videos showing clashes, arrests, and angry confrontations. Cable news panels are debating nonstop. The country is watching. Why this matters? This is not just about Minneapolis. These protests are part of a nationwide backlash against immigration enforcement policies. What happens here could shape federal immigration strategy, law enforcement authority, state versus federal power, the 2026 political landscape. Every decision made now carries national consequences. Current situation: protests are ongoing, arrests continue, political pressure is rising. No clear resolution in sight. Officials warn that even one spark could ignite wider unrest. Final word: Minneapolis has once again become the center of America's biggest debate: law and order versus protest and reform. As GOP lawmakers warn of chaos and activists vow to keep fighting, one thing is certain: